Mars was a rainier, wetter place than planetary scientists previously thought. Our work is a new piece of evidence that suggests that Mars was once a much more complex and active planet than it is now, which is such an exciting thing to be involved in. Study leader Adam Loscoot of the UK's Open University said in a statement, "We've known Mars was once a wet planet ever since the Mariner. 9 orbiter mission from the 70s photographed a surface covered in dried-up river channels. These channels were dated back to over 3.5 billion years ago. However, channels cut into the ground are not the only evidence for running water on Mars. You may like an image of Mars. Mars is covered in evidence of ancient lakes, rain, and snow. But scientists aren't sure how that's possible. An image of Mars, a reddish-orange world. Marsquakes reveal clues about a hidden body of water on Mars, a view of Mars and Hash-039. Surface with lots of dark streaks toward the center, going down vertically off-screen. Dark streaks on Mars may not come from water after all, scientists say. Click here for more space.com videos. When that water ran off or evaporated, it left sedimentary deposits. Sometimes we see these in craters that were once lakes filled with water. NASA's Curiosity rover is exploring Gale Crater. Over the eons, the sediments would have hardened, while the river channels and the land around them would have weathered and eroded away. That left the sediments, which are more resistant to erosion, sticking out as tall ridges. Geologists today call them fluvial sinuous ridges, or, more plainly, inverted channels, which has a central 3-mile-tall peak covered in sediment. Other times, these sediments were laid down on riverbeds. Now Loscoot, who is a PhD student, has led the discovery of a vast network of these channels and notches. Terra based on images and data taken by the high-resolution imaging science experiment. Camera and the context camera on NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. However, by mapping the network of inverted channels, Loscoot realized there was lots of evidence there had once been plentiful water in the region. And the Mars Orbiter laser altimeter on the defunct Mars Global Surveyor mission? A grayscale image of Mars' surface shows dried-up riverbeds. Previously, NOCHES Terra had not been given due attention because it lacked the more classical river channels that form more obvious evidence of water. Get the Space.com newsletter breaking space news, the latest updates on rocket launches, skywatching events, and more. Your email address," said Loscoot. "It's a time capsule that records fundamental geological processes in a way that just isn't possible here on Earth. Others are more intact, forming systems that run for hundreds of miles and stand tens of yards tall. Between the two ridges we can see a mesa, which may be the harder material that caused the river to diverge to get around it. Indeed, given the size of the inverted channel network in NOCHES Terra, this region of Mars may have experienced lots of rainy days in a warm and wet climate. Contact me with news and offers from other future brands. Receive email from us on behalf of our trusted partners or sponsors. Ancient Mars liquid may not all have been water. By submitting your information, you agree to the terms and conditions and privacy policy and are age 16 or over. Studying Mars, particularly an underexplored region like NOCHES Terra, is really exciting because it's an environment which has been largely unchanged for billions of years. Rather, they seem to have formed in stable climatic conditions over a geologically significant period of time during the Noachian Hesperian transition, which was the shift from one geological era into the next, around 3.7 billion years ago. Some of the inverted channels appear as isolated segments that have survived the elements for billions of years. A grayscale photo shows the surface of Mars and its corresponding ancient riverbeds. This double inverted ridge signifies where an ancient river split into two before reconnecting downstream. Such a widespread network of inverted channels does not suggest these channels were caused by flash floods, argues Loscoot. What is particularly intriguing is the most likely source of water to have formed these inverted channels is precipitation, be it rain, hail, or snow. Related stories, carbon dioxide rivers. Good news for life, Mars rivers flowed for long stretches long ago. Mars had big rivers for billions of years. It is more evidence that Mars was once more like Earth than the cold and barren desert it is today. Loscoot presented his findings at the Royal Astronomical Society's National Astronomy meeting held at the University of Durham in the UK, which ran between July 7th and July 11th. Join our space forum.